Hey, welcome to another episode of Tell Me How You're Mighty. It's Tracy Shorn, otherwise known as Chump Lady, and it's just me today. And I thought for this episode that I could read you one of the letters I got in my mail. I get quite a few letters, and sometimes I feel like I'm answering the same letter over and over again. And this one's a pretty common chump problem. We've probably all been there, where you have evidence that this person is a shitty person, most likely a cheater, but you can't seem to find the moxie to leave, and you're on the fence and you're in limbo. So I was going to read the letter and then have some pointers, which Beowulf is going to break up and read, and we'll get into it. So this is the letter I got from Beth. It says, "Good morning. My name's Beth, and I'm 5 years out of a 27-year marriage where my ex cheated on me twice to my knowledge. Shortly after, I left and filed, while also taking care of my elderly father. I began looking at dating sites for distraction. Every man I dated knew up front that I was friends only, and no relationship was needed other than friends. I did have a lot of male companions that I dated, and that was all. Then I met a man that caused a spark on a dating app. We talked, and he acted really interested and called me and texted me daily. I was busy with my father, work, and single life to other obligations. So he did tell me that I didn't seem to have the time for a relationship. So he moved on. And then 6 months later, I was on another dating site and I ran across his profile, and within 10 minutes he had texted me and we started talking again. So twice we talked and made plans to meet. And we did meet. Also, I was dating another couple guys, but none of them were serious. So we met, and I liked what I saw, and we had a lot in common. I felt like he was being 100% upfront with me, and I fell hard, and so did he. So we dated for about 9 months, and I told him we have to make a decision to stay together or move on. So I spent weekends at his place and drove to my place one night a week. I eventually moved in with him and later brought my father down with me to his place. We made a commitment to each other. I didn't know then about the 4 other women he had also moved to his place until I found ladies' clothing in some closets. So he had 4 women that he flew in from out of state that he went to school with, and none of them worked out. Also, he would get a lot of texts and calls from old high school friends too. I really tried to be mature about the calls and the texts, but when we were sitting on the front porch, he got a call from an old girlfriend that had lived there with him, and that's when I became suspicious. I have never in this relationship have I caught him cheating or ever felt that he had, but I did become suspicious after that call. Fast forward 4 years, and I'm still with this man. He also has a porn addiction that I found out about, and I've tried to talk with him about it and also point out that he has a problem. But he doesn't think he does. And I'm not happy, but I can't move on. I'm financially capable of caring for myself. My father passed 2 years ago. I could just up and leave, but the pain of leaving is keeping me here. I've had therapy, read books, prayed for intervention and guidance, but I'm so unhappy. I can't find it in me to leave. Any insights would be appreciated. Beth. Well, Beth, you came to the right place. I am the Leave the Cheater lady. That's kind of what I'm known for. It's sort of my wheelhouse. So we're going to address my first point.
You do not need to catch him cheating to leave him.
Yeah. One of the justifications that you're giving here for not leaving is that you haven't caught him cheating. You just have a lot of shady stuff, including other women's clothing in his closet when you moved in. So that's spackling. It's something chumps do, which is covering over any unsightly blemishes in your relationship, like creating a false surface narrative. Just slap that stuff up there and forget that there's a giant crack in the wall, otherwise known as denial. And I get that you want to give the benefit of the doubt to this guy and not ascribe evil intent, which is a very nice chumpy quality. And a little spackle is okay in relationships, but too much of it is a real problem. And it's the gateway drug to hopium, which is hallucinogenic levels of denial. So that's when you're projecting what you want onto the relationship that you have that is less than satisfactory. And what you have here is a fuckwit. So what you have is circumstantial evidence of cheating and clothing, which is like an actual tangible thing. Think about that one. So, okay, unless this guy is a cross dresser, he's got women's clothing because a woman is using his closet, right? She expects to come back. She has left her things. I know where your next spackle move is going, right? Because I've been a chump, which is that she moved out and he didn't clean. And for some mysterious reason, she didn't want any of her stuff back, which is plausible. I mean, it's not outside the laws of physics, but it's not likely because this is a man of advanced age who's been on many dating sites, and there have been 4 dress rehearsals for live-in chumps before you. So that makes me wonder, okay, my little cynical chump lady brain, what did these women know that made them bail? Okay, what did they find in the closet? And also, I suspect it's probably more than 4 because, as I said, this is a man of advanced age and he's on many dating sites. Though you met him on 2 different sites, so put together all the evidence here. Anyway, my point is, you do not have to catch him cheating, right? You just have to decide what is acceptable to you, right? Think about it. Just stop. What is acceptable to you? Does this relationship make you feel safe? Do you feel cherished? Do you feel like this guy respects you? Does he consider you? No? Then you know enough, okay? You don't need to like catch him red-handed or walk in on him. You know, this isn't beyond a reasonable doubt for the court of law. These are not criminal proceedings. You're the judge here. You're the decider about your life. You get to decide if he measures up or not. Which brings me to my next point.
Be authentic.
Okay, when you met this fuckwit, you were pretty fresh out of a divorce and rather vulnerable as a caregiver to your father, and you were immediately on the dating sites as quote unquote distraction and friendship. All right. I am going to call bullshit, right? Dating sites are for dating, right? They're for dating. And adults have sex, right? So if you don't want romance and you just want a friend, then you go to a meetup or you join the Rotary Club or you volunteer. You do something else, right? People on dating sites are looking for romantic partners or they're looking for hookups, but they're not looking to chastely hold hands and be a buddy. I mean, I suppose there's probably a category for that, but in asexuality is a thing, but you're talking dating sites. So I think the most logical explanation here is that you're looking for a boyfriend. And I really get the sense from your letter that you felt like you needed a man. And that erroneous belief is keeping you stuck now. And my evidence of that is that the energy that you devoted to having a lot of different gentleman callers and being on multiple dating sites. And look, there's no shame in dating around but it takes a lot of energy, right? Because you already said you have a busy life. You know, you're caregiving, you have a job, like you got a life. So to give time to a lot of casual guy friends is a big investment of your energy, right? And dating sites are, from all reports, kind of cesspools, right? I mean, they're generally depressing. And maybe that wasn't your experience, and maybe you were looking for a boyfriend and you don't want to tell me, and that's okay. But this line struck me as kind of thirsty when you met your current fuckwit, and that is, we dated about 9 months, and I told him, we have to make a decision to stay together or move on. I'm like, whoa, like, what was going on that compelled you to issue an ultimatum 9 months in? Because I'm confused here. I mean, was it 9 months of not being exclusive and you needed that defined? Because, yeah, like, what was that about? So if you spent 9 months with a guy who was happily feasting at the pussy buffet, of non-exclusivity and you want his full attention, this has always, from the start, been a non-starter, right? He's not relationship material, right? If he's 9 months, being a little bee pollinating all the other flowers, he's not your bee. And this comes back to authenticity of what you want. You're the only person we control here. We cannot control fuckwits. So what do you want? You don't want a friend. You don't want a boyfriend who has many girlfriends. You seem to want a monogamous relationship with a guy who is into you. And there's zero shame in that, right? But you need to be clear with yourself. Otherwise, you're going to try to force a fuckwit into a straitjacket. And he'll go along, right? Because he's a fuckwit. He's going to be like, oh, kibbles, great, attention, I can use you. And absolutely shame on him for being deceptive, right? But going forward, in a healthy relationship, you're both going to have to be on the same page. A healthy relationship, it grows organically. There aren't come to Jesus, define the relationship, talks, ultimatums, right? You don't do that. And you don't do that if you know your worth, right? Start from the vantage point of it is a privilege to be in your life. You are a human being. You are not a bargaining chip. Which brings me to my next point.
You don't know the truth about this guy.
You wrote, I felt he was being 100% upfront with me. I fell hard, and so did he. But you actually have no idea what this guy feels, right? I mean, there could be rancid oatmeal in his brain. You can only judge his actions. And what immediately follows this, he fell hard for me statement is the we have to make a decision conversation. So if he felt hard for you, you would not have to make a decision, right? You would not have to work to achieve consensus on who you are to him, right? Because he felt for you, right? So he should know what you mean to him. So if there is a big disconnect between someone's words and their actions, they're a fuckwit, okay? Move on. No mixed signals, right? Healthy partners they're honest with you and they're congruent. Which brings me to my next point.
You can totally move on.
Yeah, you're not happy, okay? You're not happy. He doesn't think he has a problem. You live together. He's a porn addict. You're financially independent. Beth, listen to me. Is this man financially using you? Like, he can pay for his Kleenex and his crusty sofa solo, right? He does not need you there. So you have zero, and I mean zero, reasons to be with this person. You are not economically vulnerable, thank God. You're just mind-fucked. Somehow you're mind-fucked that you need this person. But the good news is that you can unfuck your mind. Okay? Let's start with you do not need a man. Okay? A loser with a porn problem is not a prize. He is not a status symbol. He is a fuckwit. Now, why would you want to keep such a person in your life? Maybe you think a woman alone is worth less than a woman coupled with a flaming fuckwit. Okay? So check your misogyny. Look, we've all been pickled in the patriarchal bullshit, right? All of us. That women have little value if they aren't coupled. Or you, Chump Beth, are the bigger loser than an actual loser if you leave the loser. Okay? Stop the madness. You don't need the self-help books or the therapy. You just need to decide that you are worth more than a fuckwit. Okay? And I can say that you are, but it doesn't matter if you don't believe it, right? Please believe it. That you, Beth, precious Beth, are worth more than a loser, porn addicted, probably cheating fuckwit. Okay? Dump him today and be happy. That's it. Talk to you next week. Chump Lady. That wraps another episode of Tell Me How You're Mighty. You want to leave us a mighty story or a fuckwit of the week submission? Check out our new website, tellmehowyou'remighty.com. That's yours spelled Y-O-U-R-E. We've got all the episodes, show notes, links to our guests, and you can see the tea room where Sarah and I first met. If you enjoyed this episode, please review the podcast and follow us. Thanks. See you next week.